Thank you, Derek. And I'm so happy to be here with you, Jaimie. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So, you are the Senior Director of Development at Culture House. What is Culture House and what do you do there?
Sure. So, Culture House is a Black, Brown, and women owned premium film and television production company. And we specialize really in that intersection of pop culture and politics, right? So, looking at the cultural moment and really attempting to push it forward. And so, a few of current projects we just announced actually very recently that we're working on a project at Disney Plus all about adolescence, youth, and really retelling our stories through the lens of self-discovery, acceptance, self-love, etc. And we also have recently announced a project with Hulu and OWN and Onyx, and that's with Oprah Winfrey and Tracy Ellis Ross, all about Black hair. So it's called Hair Tales, really looking at kind of the politics of hair and how that's really, affected different populations, but specifically Black women. So yeah, doing a lot of really great stuff. And as Senior Director of Development, I oversee our unscripted slate and looking to basically build out what our project slate will look like and how we can move that forward, whether it's, through creative or through partnering with writers and other creative partners. And so yeah, a little bit about me and a little bit about Culture House.
That is amazing, and that is really great work to hear that people are doing these things like you. So, prior to working in the entertainment industry, though, you worked for Vice President Joe Biden on gender violence prevention in the Obama administration, and then as communications director for a congressman. So, why did you change career paths, and what has that transition been like for you?
Yeah, wonderful question. For me, I've always been an activist and an organizer at heart, right? And I had this incredible opportunity to work for the Obama White House for then Vice President Joe Biden on his violence against women team. So, really looking at gender violence prevention policy. And, that was kind of the trajectory I took. I thought maybe politics in the nonprofit world, the community organizing world, that was a way to make change, right? To, again, meet the cultural moment where it's at and push it forward. However, as many people can probably remember, things got really hectic around 2016. And that's when I was a communications director for the US House of Representatives. And, working communications, you're kind of watching the news 24/7, right? And it starts to get really bombarded with a lot of difficult things and challenging moments that this country is facing. And I started writing, and I ended up ultimately co-authoring a book called Yes She Can, all about my time working in the Obama White House in our 20s. And it was myself and 9 other women, and we each wrote a chapter. And what we found was that people were craving stories like ours, right? Like young, diverse women working in the highest levels of government. It really got me thinking about the power of television and film and the creative platforms that you all have and that we all have to really make a difference.
And you have this background in communication, but you also then decided to pursue a master's of communication management at USC Annenberg, which you just completed last year. So, congratulations. Um,
Woo, fighting on.
yeah, right on. Why did you decide to go back to school, and how did you decide on USC?
Yeah, great question. Who wouldn't decide on USC, first of all? Obviously, is in a preeminent institution and obviously has such a huge reputation with regards to its media outreach and media power. And, not just in the cinema school, but also at Annenberg. And so for me, making that transition from working in government into the private sector, right, into entertainment, I thought, well, going to grad school might be a really great transition opportunity, right, to really get to know a city, to meet other peers like myself, but then also to kind of dip my toe into, what it would mean to work in the entertainment industry. So in my program, I was really fortunate enough to take, screenwriting classes, producing classes alongside kind of my communications and media program. There's so much intersection and opportunity for collaboration. And so, while it was adjacent to the cinema school, I still think it it kind of gave me the confidence to really dive into the entertainment industry head first. And so that's kind of the reasoning behind it. And, I did part-time grad school while doing full-time work. And that was also a balance in and of itself, but really grateful to have had that opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a great experience. And you obviously work a lot because you're also the senior facilitator at the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion consultancy firm Ready Set. So I wonder if your work there has overlapped with the entertainment industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a growing industry that's really intersecting with a lot of other industries. So the work that we do at Ready Set really centers more on the HR department, right? So we're talking about how does DEI get embedded in the institution through hiring processes and those types of protocols and policy work. And so, whether it's learning how to engage in the workspace as an ally, or recognizing microaggressions, or disrupting bias when making decisions, those are the types of skills that we're teaching kind of employers and their employees. And the way that that intersects with our work, at a production company such as Culture House, or as on a set, is how do you create an inclusive environment, right, for all of your storytellers to come together and work in a collaborative way. And then also in the storytelling, right, like, are we being accurate with our portrayals of certain populations? Are we giving into stereotypes or bias? So I think because of that really great kind of synchronicity, having, being the director of development, senior director of development at Culture House, and then also as kind of this part-time facilitator, I'm able to bring both elements of that expertise to one another. And I think we need more of that. So if anyone's interested in learning more about DEI, like, obviously would love to sit down and chat.
That's great. Yes, if anyone does, please contact the USC Asian Pacific Alumni Association, and we'd be happy to put you in touch with Jaimie. So, and you do more than that. You are actually a founding board member for the Young Entertainment Activists. So what is that?
Yeah, so Young Entertainment Activists, which is the acronym is YEA, which is always fun. We're kind of this, I would say, organizing and activist entertainment hub. So we're a network of, as you would guess it, young entertainment activists. So we're folks from all different backgrounds in the entertainment industry, right? And we just come together to create programming and leadership development and mentorship opportunities for folks who are interested in the same types of work, right? Whether it's activism, whether it's social impact. So some of our recent events and programming include our annual Hollywood Climate Summit, which we've done in partnership with NYU and Netflix and a few other sponsors. And we did another event all about mental health and, how are we protecting our mental health in this industry? How do we find a therapist? How do we talk about mental health? And even just incorporating mental health storylines into shows and into films, right? So there's a lot that can really, you can really dig in there. But this is a purely volunteer network, but you get what you put in, and I think it's a really amazing, fantastic opportunity, especially for current college students or recent alumni who would like to, make an additional meaningful impact in the industry.
That is quite incredible, Jaimie. Yeah, I really want to thank you for all the work that you do. And the time that you spent with us today to tell us about it. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was such a joy, and congrats again to all the participants in the film festival.